Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Miss Skokin. We are back in Chapter 4. This time we're taking a look at Section 4-3, Angle Relationships in Triangles. We have two objectives: find the measures of interior and exterior angles of triangles, and apply theorems about the interior and exterior of angles of triangles. You can pause the video and read the vocab. We're going to go ahead and get started on our warm-up. Question number 1 says, find the measure of the exterior angle DBA of triangle BCD if the measure of angle DBC equals 30 degrees, the measure of angle C equals 70 degrees, and the measure of angle D equals 80 degrees. So first things first, we need a triangle. The name of this triangle is BCD, and the measures are 30 degrees at angle DBC, the measure of angle C is 70 degrees, and the measure of angle D is 80 degrees. Now, what we're asked to find is the measure of angle DBA, with A being an exterior point and the angle being this exterior angle. And I bet it jumped right out at you that we have a linear pair between 30 and the angle that we're trying to find, angle DBA. So we can set it up knowing that linear pairs are supplementary as the two angles summing up to 180 degrees. And since the measure of angle DBA is the one that we're trying to find, we can solve for the measure of angle DBA. Once we got it set up this way, of course, we know we can just substitute in the 30 degrees for the measure of angle DBC, and that means our final answer is going to be the measure of angle DBA is equal to 180 minus 30, 150 degrees. Let's move on to question 2. It says, what is the complement of an angle with measure 17? Well, we know that complementary angles add to 90 degrees, and that the complement of an angle measures 90 degrees minus the angle measure. So what that means is we can easily figure out how much an angle measures when it's the complement of a 17-degree angle, and that is, of course, going to be 73 degrees. Our last warm-up question says, how many lines can be drawn through point N parallel to segment MP? And how do we know that? Well, the answer, of course, is exactly 1. And that is going to look just like this. There's our line. It goes through point N, and it is parallel to segment MP. We know this because of the parallel postulate, which says, through a point P not on line L, there is exactly one line parallel to line L. And that's exactly what this situation describes. Okay, let's move forward to the triangle sum theorem. The idea behind the triangle sum theorem is something that we're familiar with, and it says the sum of the interior angle measures of a triangle is 180 degrees. So when we have information about these, you can kind of see where the problem solving is going to go. It means we're going to set it up as an algebraic equation where the total of the interior angles of the triangle ends up being 180 degrees, and then we solve for the unknown in that way. Let's move on to example 1. On example 1, we've got a map, and we are going to use this map to try to find out what some of the angle measures are. So it says the map of France, commonly used in the 1600s, was significantly revised as a result of triangulation land survey. The diagram shows part of the survey map. Use the diagram to find the indicated angle measures. And what we're going to do first is take a look at what's going on, try to find out as much as we can, and then we'll go back and see what questions were being asked so that we can make sure that we've answered all the questions. In the triangle all the way on the right-hand side, we see that we have two angle measurements, 88 degrees and 48 degrees. And we know, therefore, because of the triangle sum theorem, that we can find the measure of the missing angle. The measure of angle MKN is going to be 180 degrees minus the sum of the two angles that we know, 88 degrees and 48 degrees. So when we do the subtraction, we see that we have a 44-degree angle. We also notice that there is one arc mark on angle MKN, and we have another angle with an arc mark, arc mark also, and that is this one right here. So we have another 44-degree angle. And that leads us to the next discovery, that we have another triangle now that we have two known angles for. So angle MJK can be found, the measure of angle MJK can be found by the same method, 180 degrees minus the sum of the two angles that we know. And that gives us 32 degrees. Next, we move on to the last triangle up at the top, and we see that we ended up having a straight angle that is broken by the 44-degree angle, the 104-degree angle, and one other angle. And so we decide we're going to find the measure of this angle, which can be written as Jkl. And once again, we're going to use the triangle sum theorem to help us figure out what the measure of the angle is. This time we're subtracting the sum of 104 and 44 from the 180-degree straight angle, and we have 32 degrees. Now what's interesting about this is we had 32 degrees a minute ago, and if you look, it looks like we've got a pair of parallel lines with a transversal going through them, so that we have alternate interior angles. Okay, we've done a really good job on this. Let's go see what the questions are asking us for. The first one says, what is the measure of angle NKM? And of course, that is the one that we called MKN. So we'll call it by this name now. We know it's the same angle, and that was equal to 44 degrees. We found that one in red. In fact, that was the first one we found. Next, we need to find the angle the measure of angle Jkl. And Jkl was the one way up at the top of the screen, and we know that that one is 32 degrees. We can also find the measure of angle JLK. That is the angle way up at the top of the screen. And that one is also going to be easy to find because of the triangle sum theorem. We have two angle measurements, 70 degrees and 32 degrees, that we can subtract from 180 degrees to get the measure of angle JLK. Next, you have an opportunity to try, and so you're going to pause the video, work this one through, and then when you're ready to check your answer, you can turn the video back on. See you back in a minute. If you followed the model that we did with the French map, you probably were very successful on this question, making sure to remember the relationship between linear pairs, that they are supplementary, the two angles are supplementary, and also the triangle sum theorem, where the interior angles add to 180 degrees on every triangle. A corollary, we remember, is a theorem whose proof directly follows from another theorem. So here are two corollaries to the triangle sum theorem. The first one says that the acute angles of a right triangle are complementary. This totally makes sense. We know because of the triangle sum theorem that the total of the interior angles of a triangle have to total up to 180 degrees. If we subtract out the right angle, what's left over is 90 degrees. So the other 90 degrees need to come from the sum of angles D and E. Some of you might be tempted to think that that means they need to be equal or congruent angles with a 45-degree measurement, but that is not the case. We could have an infinite number of combinations, and that leads us to the next corollary. 4-3-3 says the measure of each angle of an equiangular triangle is 60 degrees, And that makes sense because we know we have three angles in a triangle. They total up to 180 degrees. If they're all three the same, we're going to end up with 60-degree angles, three of them. Let's take a look at example 2, and we're going to be using these corollaries on example 2. Just a quick reminder, very often when we're doing these questions, we're going to sketch the drawing, whatever the figure is discussing or is describing. That doesn't mean that you absolutely have to, but it definitely is helpful. So with that thought, we have one of the acute angles in a right triangle measures 22.9 degrees. What is the measure of the other acute angle? Well, we know that the measure of angle M plus the measure of angle N, the two acute angles on this right triangle, have to be equal when we add them together to 90 degrees. And the one that we're looking for is the measure of angle N, so that's going to be 90 degrees minus the measure of angle M, which is 22.9. So the measure of angle N is 67.1 degrees. That brings us to the now you try, so it's your turn to try these out. Just a recommendation, read the directions, including the hint. Turn the video back on when you're ready to check your answers. Sometimes it feels a little bit uncomfortable when we end up with an algebraic expression and not a specific number to give the measurement of the angle, but that is all we were able to do because of the information we did and didn't have included in the question. The interior, or inside, is a set of all points inside the triangle. The exterior is a set of all points outside the triangle. And we have an exterior angle that is formed by the two sides of a triangle. So there's one side of a triangle, there's another side of a triangle, but we keep that segment going and don't stop at the edge of the triangle so that we can create a new exterior angle. Now, the diagram shows that the remote interior angles are called angles 1 and 2. So I want you to think of it this way. When we've got a triangle, if we extend one of the segments that makes up the triangle, then we create an exterior angle. If you think about this, we've got an angle inside the triangle that will form a linear pair with the exterior angle. So these two right here form a linear pair. If you remember, linear pairs are adjacent. And that means that the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 equal 180 degrees. We know that that's what a linear pair means. We also know through the triangle sum theorem that the measure of the interior angles of a triangle sum up to 180 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 also totals 180 degrees. And if we set this up as 180 degrees equals 180 degrees and see what happens when we try combining like terms, here's what we end up with. The measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2, which is exactly what our exterior angle theorem says to us. And we're going to use that new knowledge in example 3, applying the exterior angle theorem. Just remember, anytime you get stuck on one of these questions, absolutely 100% go back to your notes and reread these theorems, the corollaries, the postulates that are helping us solve the problems. Understanding those relationships is really key. Okay, let's take a look at part A, where we're trying to find the measure of angle J. We can see our exterior angle, which is angle FGH, and we hopefully recognized also our remote interior angles, H and J. We're going to set this up using the exterior angle theorem. Once we've got the initial setup, we are ready to substitute in and solve for our unknown value x. Then we just combine like terms and solve. Now, of course, we're not done when we find x because our question was asking us to find the measure of angle J. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to plug in our x value that we just found to get the measure of angle J is equal to 67 degrees. And it's time for you guys to try on the next problem, but there's a typo, and instead of the measure of angle J, you're going to be finding the measure of angle B. Go ahead and switch the video off, do all of your work, and turn it back on when you're ready to check your answer. As long as we follow the same strategy, we're going to get a correct answer. Measure of angle B is equal to 55 degrees. And now we've got another theorem, the third angles theorem, and this one is pretty intuitive because it says if you have two pairs of congruent angles on two different triangles, then the third angle needs to also be congruent. And we can see the tick marks on the triangles telling us that we have two pairs of congruent angles. Knowing that we have two pairs of congruent angles means that by the third angles theorem, we know that the third angle is also going to be congruent. So we can write down the measure of angle K is equal to the measure of angle J. So 4y squared equals 6y squared minus 40, and we solve and we end up with y squared is equal to 20. Now normally we would of course show that as 2 root 5, or we might show it as an approximation when we take the square root, but we don't actually need to do that, and the reason is because our expression for the measure of angle K uses y squared, not y. So when we come up to 4y squared, we of course plug in our 20 for y squared and end up with a measurement of 80 for angle K. For angle J, we remember that K and J are congruent. And that means the measurements both equal 80 degrees. Next, of course, we have an opportunity for you to try this out. So go ahead and pause the video, work on this question, and then turn the video back on when you're ready to check your answers. Once we've got the algebraic equation set up, it's very easy to solve. And we end up with y is equal to 36, and that's great because now we can work on finding the measures of angles C and F. That is it for the lesson, so you can move forward by working on your homework. That's what's next, and I'll see you in class.